I'm not sure what I'm gonna call this video. It's either like live better or look better or be better, something along those lines, because I have some tips, just some things that I've incorporated into my life lately. They're very teeny tiny habits, except for the last one. The last one's not teeny tiny, but it does make a huge difference. And so save that for last. But almost all of these are teeny tiny habits you can make in your life to just help you live better and also look better. I got a couple of those too. Let's get started. I'm gonna start off with one that's huge, that has been a huge, it's the only sciencey one I have in here, okay? But it's made a difference in my coffee intake. So I was watching the Mel Robbins podcast, I watched it on YouTube, and she had a doctor or somebody who's knowledgeable about these things come in, and she said, and I'm gonna sum it up for you, you can go do more research if you want to, but in the morning we have this hormone called indenosine. I'm pretty sure adenosine, something like that. I'll put it on the screen. Anyway, it's what helps you have a good night's sleep or go to sleep and stay asleep and that kind of thing. But when you wake up in the morning, it's still there. It's still kind of in your body. And so you're supposed to give your body time to just flush it out before you drink coffee. Because if you don't, if you just wake up and immediately start drinking caffeine, you're basically blocking those adenosine receptors from just clearing on its own. And as soon as your caffeine buzz wears off, you're just gonna want another coffee and you're gonna be tired again. So the recommendation, and there's been lots of recommendations by Andrew Huberman, by different people, but what she had said is to wait 45 minutes after you wake up before you have coffee. Sometimes I can't wait 45 minutes. So I tell myself at least 30, but sometimes I'm able to wait a full hour because some recommend an hour before you drink coffee. But anyway, what I do in the morning is I get my AG1 and I sip on that. And so about 30, 45 minutes later, that's when I'll drink my first cup of coffee. And I have to tell you, it has decreased the amount of coffee that I drink throughout the day. Because I would normally drink up a cup of coffee and then a little bit later I'd want another one. And then maybe I'll have a third cup. Sometimes I get a third cup, sometimes I don't. But whenever I wait, and honestly, whenever I wait a good 45 minutes before drinking coffee, I just usually have that one cup of coffee and I'm good. And then I don't have any more, unless I had a terrible night's sleep or something like that. Anyway, but if you want to do your own research, I will link this podcast below. It was very interesting. So it's just food for thought. Are you using primer before your makeup? If you're not, you're probably losing your makeup within a couple of hours, especially in the summertime. Especially if I am gonna put on some more makeup because I'm going to an event or I'm going somewhere where I need more coverage, I definitely use this primer. It helps my makeup stay a lot longer than if I didn't use it. An easy, simple, non-sciencey beauty hack, is it a hack? It's just a beauty tip, is in the summer, and actually most of the year, but definitely in the summer, I don't want to wear super heavy makeup when I'm just going about my day. I wear minimal makeup. I wear kind of a tinted, like a very light foundation, very, very light, and you can kind of layer them if you want to, but I'll do that. I'll do some concealer, maybe some mascara. You know, I just don't do a whole bunch of makeup in the summertime. I just don't like that look on myself. But what I have found though is that just adding a little bit of color to my lips makes all of the difference. And I love the nude and rose colored lipstick, and that is my look a lot of the time. But on those days that I have very minimal makeup on and I'm just running around, I keep this one red lipstick with me because it is not one that you have to like have a mirror and be super, super careful with. It's basically a sheer lipstick. That's what I want to call it. I would call it a sheer red. I like to keep it in my purse. I had several red lipsticks, but most of them are just like a very red, like lip line, which I love those too for like an evening look or if I'm going to do something. But as a day-to-day, everyday, gonna run in somewhere, wanna throw on some lipstick, this sheer lipstick is the way to go. Another beauty tip I have discovered that I think this is what has made using a bronzer just so much easier in my life. But I would normally, like with bronzer, you're not supposed to put it in the hollow of your cheek. You're supposed to put it more up here on your cheekbones, especially as you get older, because you don't want your cheeks to be hollowed out. You want it to be a little lifted. And I was just putting it there. But what I learned is just to do it like a 3. So you start here and create a 3 on your face. And it just gives you such like a summer glow, healthy kind of look. I actually really like this bronzer, but I very much do not like the brush that's on the end of it. So I use this brush I've actually had for a really long time. I'm going to try to link that below along with everything else. And I'm doing this bronzer. I was trying to do it with the camera and not quite looking in the mirror, and it's not rubbed in all the way. I apologize. Then I just do some of my blush. I've already had my foundation put on and a powder. And then just to continue on, the other product I really am loving lately is this eyebrow brush. It's super easy. It's like foolproof. Some of them just, I feel like, take a lot of skill to use. This one does not. I love it. I will link it below. And I've tried different wax for my eyebrows to make them kind of stand up a little bit more. And they're either just way too waxy or too heavy or require like a doctorate in makeup in order to put on. But this one just makes life so easy. It's just so easy to use. It's makeup by Mario, I believe. I will link it below. And this is my full minimal makeup look that I have been loving for this summer. Have you been exfoliating your scalp? If you haven't, I definitely think you should, because you'd be amazed at the results. The one that I like is by, I think, L'Oreal, and I've tried expensive ones, and I honestly, this one just seems to work just as good as the expensive ones. So I highly recommend this one. It's really great to just, you do need to kind of exfoliate your scalp every now and then, especially because there could be buildup just from your shampoos and from oils that have been in your hair and that kind of thing. It's just good to do that every once in a while. And you'll be surprised at how fluffy and full your hair is after using this. But if you're like me, I have oily hair and my hair can just tend to be like flat to my head, especially in the summertime. And so this is essential. A hack for not having random things just thrown all over my place is I call it the one-touch method, because I think that's how it was explained to me. And so what that means is that whenever you come in your house, instead of taking your purse off and just throwing it on your table, which, you will eventually have to move it from your table and put it somewhere else unless it just sits there and then creates clutter, is you think about, okay, I only want to touch this thing one time before it goes into its proper place. And so with that, instead of putting it on the table or hanging it over a chair, I go directly to the hook that I put on my wall. I will link those below, y'all. Those are like life-changing. They gives you a place for your stuff and you just stick it on your wall. But anyway, I hang my purse there instead of throwing it down. Protein drinks on the go. You're like, Anna, well, I'm not a gym rat. Why do I need protein drinks on the go? And you might not, but I started measuring my protein intake several weeks ago, and I really wasn't getting enough protein. So I've always been a person who focuses on fiber, and fiber is incredibly important. And if people would focus more on fiber and getting enough fiber in their diet, it would help out with a lot of things. But I've always focused on fiber and getting enough vegetables and getting a variety of fruits and vegetables and things, but I really haven't focused on protein and how much protein I'm getting. And when I did and I really measured it, I was like, oh shoot, I'm really not getting enough protein. And as we age, we need to have a legit good amount of protein in our diet. And also I work out, I try to build muscle, I need some protein. So I've been really focusing on protein and fiber in my diet. And let me just tell you, if you are struggling with weight loss, I'm not a doctor. I don't know you. I don't know your situation or anything, but I'm just telling you, for me, if I focus on getting enough protein and fiber in the foods that I eat, there's not a whole lot of room left in my stomach for a bunch of crappy food. And so therefore you end up eating healthier foods, less calories, because you're filling yourself up with healthy fiber, healthy fats, healthy protein, rather than like junk food, which I still eat some junk food sometimes, but it just is a really good way to kind of get your body on track. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Anyway, protein on the go. So I was having a problem getting enough protein in my diet. So I do drink a protein shake every now and then if I feel like that day I just really haven't gotten enough from what I'm eating. But sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't have time to like make a protein shake right now and everything. So protein drinks on the go, oh my goodness. Not only are they good to get some extra protein in your diet, but also I find sometimes, and it usually seems to be in the afternoon, I kind of get a little bit of a sweet tooth, and a lot of times I'll go to kombucha, which I love kombucha. But instead of that, if I am needing some protein that day, I will go to a protein shake. And so I like the Evolve protein shakes. That's what I've been drinking lately, and I don't drink it every day, but it is just something to have on hand if you do need that extra boost of protein, and then maybe you have a sweet tooth, kill two birds with one stone. It's It's a teeny tiny habit, y'all. It's a teeny tiny one, but it's made a big difference in my life. Before you go to sleep at night, instead of thinking about all the problems and all the things you got to do tomorrow and things you didn't do today and things you got to get done, force your brain to start thinking of everything in your day that went right. And if you're like, well, nothing is going right in my life or something, which listen, I've been there too, but if you think about your day, there are many things that went right. You woke up in the morning, you're alive, your coffee tasted good because you put some stuff in it, whatever you need to put in your coffee to make it taste good. Maybe it was a beautiful sunny day. Maybe you enjoyed your morning. Maybe you had no traffic on the way to work. Maybe you had a ton of traffic, but you found a good podcast to listen to. Maybe your day was without any drama. You just kind of went to work and everything was pretty good and there was nothing really crazy that happened. There's just all kinds of, you could sometimes just change your perspective on the way you look at things. And if you end your waking hours on the note of thinking about things that went well, your brain, while it sleeps, which it usually sorts out your thoughts, sorts out what things that happened that day, it's just kind of, resetting itself. That's a very good note to leave it. And if you continue doing this, then it will help create more of this and you will be able to start identifying during the day when things do go right. It can really help you just be happier and more joyful overall. Okay, let's get to the tip that I have. It's not tiny, but I love it, okay? And maybe you already do this, but have you ever had your lashes curled? You have to go to somebody. It's about an hour and they sit there, you close your eyes and they curl your lashes and you sit there with your eyes closed. But the reason why I love this is because, again, I don't like to wear a lot of makeup. I do wear mascara. I'll do my little red lip. I'll do some concealer, some foundation. And my eyelashes are like literally just, they're like this. They are straight. And I can curl them with a curling thingy and they just kind of maybe curl like a teeny weeny bit, but they just kind of stay stick straight. So if I go get them curled, when I put on just mascara and then some concealer and whatnot, they're like, they look like I curled them. They just look so much more open, but it just makes a huge difference. And maybe no one notices, maybe like literally nobody notices, but I notice. And that's all that matters, right? So I highly recommend, if you also have stick straight eyelashes, try getting them curled professionally. And it's one of those things that takes, time and money to do in the beginning, but then you just like the way you look so much better without a lot of makeup. And so for the next 6 weeks, you kind of just feel like you look a lot better and are more awake. So I really like it. You can check it out. I don't know, you probably have a local place near you to go do it. But anyway, this is just something that I've been doing lately that I just really find a lot of value in. So those were some tips that just helped me in my life lately. I thought I would share. I love these kinds of videos. I love watching these kinds of videos. So I wanted to do one of my own of just things that just been working for me lately. If you did like this video, I have done a couple more that are very similar. I will link them over here that you can check out next, different tips. And I will link, if I talked about anything that needs to be linked, I will link it in the description box below. And let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any tips to add. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. And I will see you next time.